Make then now. This is something that Neville Goddard used to say quite a bit in his lectures, that we are to make then now and there here. Notice that he is constantly referring to stay away from there, then, and another time at another place, that it is all happening here and now. I want to share with you this beautiful, powerful success story using revision. And this client asked me to go ahead and share her story, and I'm excited to share this with you because I intend it's going to be very healing and transformative for you in whatever way that you have been seeking. Welcome, my name is Rose, and welcome to The Rosey Life, where we help you free your mind and follow your heart so you live a life that you love. If you're interested in working one-on-one with me, you know what to do. You can go to RoseyLife.com. Information is down below. Or you can join the Rosey Life course in community, where we meet as a group weekly and I answer your questions live, 12 p.m. Central Time every week. And those are recorded, so you can always go back and ask the questions later. And there's a private forum with success stories, and there's 12 lessons that are self-paced, helping you to focus more within than without. Okay, so let's get started. This success story was so beautiful, and it's a new Rosey Life course and community member, and she emailed me her success story, and I absolutely love the entire story because she had been, and this is what she'd been, her background. She said that she has been reading Neville, Dr. Joseph Murphy, Catherine Ponder, and more. She said, I've been studying for over a decade, trying the pruning shears of revision. For those of you who don't know pruning shears of revision, it is a Neville Goddard term, and Neville Goddard taught that we can revise what seems as the past, because there really is no past. Even what you deem and think and remember as a past, you can only experience it from this now moment. When you think of something that happened in the past 5 minutes ago or 5 years ago, you're only able to recall the past from this moment. And what Neville taught in the pruning shears of revision is that we remember it how we wanted it to have happened in this moment, and by doing so, it has a ripple effect that changes the past, present, and future regarding that topic of whatever you revised. So this person, she said she had been trying for over 10 years the pruning shears of revision, and she could never get that feeling, she put in quotes, that anything was actually revised within me. And I'm going to really, I really want to dive into that because she was looking for a feeling that something had revised within her. In other words, she revised it. All those years that she thinks that she wasn't, she actually had revised it, but she kept using this condition that I have to feel it in order for me to believe that it actually changed, right? But what she did, after watching a couple of your revision videos, so she's talking about some of the Rosey Life videos that are up here, she said, I had a huge aha. And she said, she says, I imagined what, and then she explained that she went into a meditation. After watching the videos, she had an aha moment. And she mentioned that she went and used a meditation method that she had learned somewhere else. And she said she just went into the meditation. I imagined, this is what she did. And she imagined, so she sat down and got into a meditative state. And she imagined that her mom was with her. So she brought her mom from then here. Now her mom has already passed away, she said. So she imagined she brought her mom in front of her, and she had a conversation with her mom, and that she wanted to have with her while she was living. And she'd been doing this, you guys, for over 10 years already. And she had tried to revise a lot of things with her mom. She even tried revising her day-to-day things, right? Because we can revise the present 5 minutes ago. We can revise, like Neville suggested, when you go to sleep at night, that you just, you lay there and you revise your whole day. If you want to, you don't have to, right? But this is how the revision process is explained. So she imagined her mom was sitting with her and they had a conversation, and that she was able to talk to her mom about whatever it is that she wanted to say. And then she said when she came out of that, she said, I felt a giant weight lift off my chest. And then she just proceeds to say thank you, for the revision videos and whatnot, and she's looking forward to the rest of the course in the Rosey Life course and community. But what I love about this, and I wanted to point out, is that after her watching those videos on revision, right, I think a lot of people might have they have different interpretations, and they have a different perspective about what Neville's saying about revision. And I want to pause here for a second, because I don't want to sound like I'm the end all be all and that my way is the way, because that's not true, right? Every single coach on YouTube, every book that has been written recently and in the past, right, all of it is all trying to point you to the truth. And I had a friend once tell me, he said, Rose, he says, nothing is new. Like, none of this information, none of this content about who we are and about the law of assumption or the law of attraction, he said, none of this is new. He said, every person, every book, every coach, no matter how big or small they are, he said, they're all talking about the same information. The only difference is that every person is presenting it differently. And he said, so just be you and present it your way. This is when right before I started the YouTube channel. And I really like that, because I was stuck in my head that I had to produce something new, and there isn't anything new, you guys. So whether it's me or any other coach, it's just the way that it's being taught, based off of everyone's personal belief systems and their point of view. And I used to even teach it from a different point of view, thinking that I had to do techniques and do things in order to get things to happen. But I had those techniques and processes as something that was a tool that wasn't within me. And when you realize more and more, and this is what I've realized, is that everything is in me, everything is from me, there is nothing outside of me. So when you bring in that unity, that one with who you are one with Christ, you are one with God, right? Then you start eliminating that feeling of separateness of your desires, of a technique or a tool, and then you start seeing that you don't need those. You can do them if you want to, but you don't have to. There are no rules, there are no conditions, and each one of us can make our own conditions and our own rules. That's why we're here, to experience our power, to experience God. And I've seen this written in so many different books, but to reveal the Father, that is our purpose on earth, to reveal that what we do and see within is expressed without. Do you see? And that is all of our power. So what she did here, right, is she had been studying and learning, and everything was amazing that she's reading. All these authors are incredible. However, it's something that I said in one of my revision videos, it resonated with her. And I'm the same way. Like, I remember when I used to watch a bunch of YouTube channels and listen to coaches, and I'm like, and something in me, that it was like they were Snoopy, and I didn't get what they were saying to me. Even though I know what they were saying was true, there was nothing wrong with them. It was just, it wasn't resonating with me and how they were saying it. And then along the way, right, I started leaning into myself and asking my higher self to reveal to me. And then from that point, I started reading the same exact books, but I saw them in a different way. And then I was drawn into specific coaches and whatever, and they were talking to me in a way that I understood. So no one is wrong, okay? And there's no bad way or wrong way, right? What I have done is evolved in understanding that I am the all, and that nothing is separate from me, and that it all comes from within me. And that is what the Rosey Life is also sharing, is pointing all of you to that truth too, that you're not separate from anything. Okay, so what she did when she watched one of my revision videos is something resonated with her and gave her a huge aha moment, and she got really excited. And she said, Rose, she says, I didn't walk, I ran to her meditation. She has a meditation chair, nothing wrong with that. She ran to her meditation chair, and she began to do this this revision with her mother. And when she did, after doing that, she felt a huge weight lifted off of her shoulder, off her chest rather, because something in that video resonated with her, that she's in charge. Because that's what I talk about in my videos in revision, is that you're the one in charge, and that you're not changing something that happened. You are selecting something new you wish to experience. And you can watch those videos as well. I'm not really sure which ones she watched, because there's several now, but you can just search for revision on in my channel. But what the other thing I loved is what she says, I felt a giant weight lift off my chest. And I love that she used the word giant, because when I was making yesterday's video about the silent power within, I was actually considering calling it the gentle giant within, because that's what it feels like. It's a gentle giant within that is only love, but it is massive, and it's omnipresent, it's omnipotent, it's all power, and it's like you can't mess with that power. So it's like that giant came in and lifted the weight off of her when she went in and claimed her power. You guys, I just got some goosebumps with saying with that. That's powerful. And I want to share with you guys a couple of quotes. One is from he's the founder of existentialism, and the other one is a scripture, because I want you to see the unity that no matter what even if it's a Disney movie, you guys seen, I like talking about Marvel movies, Disney movies, it's all one. It's all pointing back to that one truth, the unity, the wholeness of who we are, that there is nothing outside. There's no special recipe or special sauce out here that we have to figure out, that we're all pointing into that one truth. Okay, remember, like my friend said, like, nothing is new. We're all regurgitating the same information. We're just sharing it from our own experience, or our own perspective. The way that I talk from my background as a former psychotherapist, and you see, so we all are going to share it from a different perspective, and it's all good. It's all good. All of it. It's all good, and it's all love. So I don't really know how to say his name, but I think it's Soren Kierkegaard something. He is the founder of existentialism, and this quote, I got it out of The Flow of Life from Eric Butterworth, and it says, there's a story, it's a fable, right? It says it's about the Arab in the desert, and he says, this Arab in the desert, he said, we have the same feeling of security and well-being when, after years of living in a life from the outside, thinking that happiness comes out there, we finally go within and discover the source within. So I should share the story. The Arab in the desert is about an Arab who finds a spring of water inside of his tent, and it has a nonstop flow of water, and he discovers that inside of his tent. And he said, and that's the same thing, is that we have the same feeling of security and well-being when, after years of living a life from the outside, thinking that happiness comes out there, we finally turn inward and discover the source within. So that's what he's saying. It's like the Arab in the desert who finds that spring of never-ending water inside of his tent, and when he discovers that, he's like, wait, I don't have to go outside my tent, I have it all inside. I don't have to go seeking for water. And that's in the middle of the desert. He finds that fountain of never-ending of wealth, of abundance, of happiness, of everything. It was within the whole time, and he discovers it. And so that's what he's saying, is that when you discover that your abundance, your happiness, your joy, love, health, wealth, all of it is from within, right, then you find your well-being there. And this is what happened to the Rosey Life course member. She was, for years, just like the same, for years, after years of living life from the outside, she was reading, she was studying, she was, using revision, she was trying to processes in the techniques, right, but she wasn't moved. She was looking for that feeling. She wasn't moved, right, because when she discovered And that's what she discovered by watching one of the Rosey Life videos. Is she discovered that it's within, that the change is within her. And when she realized that, she did the revision, and then she found what she was looking for. It was always within, right? Like Dorothy the Wizard of Oz, right? She says, you've had the power within you all along, right? And then I wanted to read you this scripture from Matthew 11:25 to 30. And this is a wonderful scripture that just goes beautifully with what we're talking about today. It says, come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me. For I am meek and lowly in heart, and ye shall find rest unto your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. And that's Matthew 11:25-30. So a couple of things that I wanted to highlight in here. One, as you guys have known, many of you I've mentioned that I was brought up in a very strict religious home. And so I went to church for years and years and years and years. And even after, when I was an adult and I tried to dip back into a church, it's still something didn't sit right with the way that I was spoken to. And when I read this scripture again, I remember a pastor in a church telling us, just using this verse and describing the word meek. And he's saying, I am meek. And the way that he described it to me was that he said, break the word meek down into two, me-ick. In other words, he was teaching the people that we are icky, that we're like low, we're nothing without God, and that we're icky, right? And that we're like to turn to God for everything because we are nothing. And that's what I taught, and that's what I thought about myself for years, that I am worthless and I am nothing, and that I had to turn to God. That was part of the teaching. Okay, I didn't know that was a reflection of who I thought I was at that time. Do you see? But fast forward, now that I know who I am, it's impossible to be icky, worthless, and non-deserving. It's impossible, because you, me, all of us are a child of God, and God made us, and he said, and in you I am well pleased. That is also scripture, right? I am well pleased, meaning you are perfect. You are created in the image of God. So how the hell can you be icky? How the hell can you be less and worthless without him when you are one with God? You are one with all that is. Your desires are one with you. Everything is you. Everything comes from you. You are royalty. You are everything. So, and I wanted to straighten that one out, okay? And so the other thing too is, I even went as far as, at the time when I was going to that church, I was married to someone, and I remember he and I learning that in church together. And I even sent him a text message this morning, and I told him, I said, hey, remember when we learned what this word meant? And I said, I just want to share with you, I said that's not correct. That what meek means, here you guys go, here's what the word meek means metaphysically, and this is what I shared with him too. And because I said, I don't want him to think that, and I said, if I had carried that around, I don't want him to remember that. If he does, maybe he forgot about it, I don't know, but I wanted to share it with him anyway. But meek actually metaphysically means to be able to see any negative or any negative thought or any fear through the eyes of love. That's what meek means. It means it sees everything through the lens of love. So when it says I am meek, means I only have the ability to see everything through love, right? That's all I can see. So the other part that I wanted to is the yoke, because that was another weird one that I was misinformed about, right? So yoke, metaphysically, and this goes back to the Hebrew and Aramaic text, okay, and Sanskrit text. So yoke, actually, and I grabbed this from Florence Scovel Shinn, and The Game of Life and How to Play It, if you guys have ever read that. But she made this wonderful, it just nailed it for me, and I wanted to share it with you. Yoke is like, it's like a boulder up. It's like if you have a boulder, so the boulder represents your fears, your worries, the conditions, the 3D conditions, what you think is impossible, the things that you think are in the way, and you think that they're blocks, the things that you think are just insurmountable, and it's an absolute no in your face, right? That your yoke, right, when you lift it up, she says, like a boulder beyond the planet. Now we're going beyond time and space, who you really are, okay? When you lift it up, it becomes light, because now it's not bound by the law of gravity. It's, you are lifting up what you think is heavy. And when you lift it up beyond the planet, beyond time and space, that it becomes light and nothing. So what does that signify? Is that boulder is you are lifting up your worry, your worst fears, what you think is impossible, and you're going within imagination, in consciousness, and you lift that up. In other words, you give that to your higher self, your I amness, where it knows no bounds, it knows no limits, it knows nothing about time, right? You go within and you declare what it is that you want. And then remember, like I said in yesterday's video, the law is impartial, and it doesn't see a boulder, it doesn't see a condition, it doesn't see any blockage, it just goes. It goes on your command. Do you see? So you lift it up, you rise in consciousness with identifying with I am, who I am, that great I am, right? My Father and I are one, and now you're giving it up to your Father within, and then the law is now unleashed and will manifest or correct or whatever, revise, like this client, right? She lifted up that heavy burden, that boulder within. She lifted that up in consciousness. She now identifies herself as I am the all. Everything comes from me, through me, right? Now she sees it. And when she did that, she was provided with that relief. That her burden is light now, and she is free from the past, free from anything that she thought was binding her to unhappiness in this moment. So that is another example of the power of revision coming from the I am the all, that I am everything. All right. So thank you guys again for liking the video. Thank you for subscribing to The Rosey Life. I appreciate you guys so much. And we're just having a party up in here, watching this channel grow, and you guys are so freaking amazing. Keep sharing the videos, keep sharing The Rosey Life with others. I appreciate you guys all so much. And again, you all are so freaking amazing, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I feel every single one of your comments, and I do my best to answer all of your comments in between sessions, and as I can, I'll do my best. And I love you guys so much, and there's nothing but love and nothing but God in this channel and in my life and in yours. I'll see you soon. Bye.